when we want to get ready for Pesach, we want to start cooking for Pesach, we need to make sure that the oven is kosher. How do we make our oven kosher for Pesach? The best way is that if we have self-cleaning oven, we put it on a self-clean, and the heat over there cleans it completely. We don't need to clean the oven beforehand in any way. We don't even need to wait 24 hours before using it. Put the oven on the self-clean, and that takes care of it. The reason for that is since the heat over there is around 900 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, so such heat on constant basis for that time that you're putting it on completely cleans it, and there's no chametz absorption into it anymore. If one doesn't have self-cleaning oven, you still could clean the oven by putting it on the highest for an hour. Rabbi Elyashiv says putting it for an hour on the highest, that's sufficient. Let's say a person could go up to 550 degrees. First, what he needs to do when he doesn't have self-cleaning and he wants to use that technique, he has to make sure that the oven is clean. How does he do it? He buys something like Easy Off to clean the oven. And then, after he cleans the oven, he has to wait for 24 hours before putting the oven on the highest. Once he does those two things, he puts the oven on the highest for an hour, better off even longer than that for 2 hours, and then he can use that oven. This is also how Rav Shlomo Zalman said, and this is also how Chacham Ovadia ruled. But that's with the exception of the trays. Since the trays themselves, we put on them straight the baking goods, like let's say the challah we make for Shabbat, so that needs libun chamur. And although we considered self-cleaning as good as libun chamur, this is what Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky said, but putting the oven on the heat of 550 degrees or whatever the highest it could reach doesn't have a din of libun chamur, and therefore one should not use those trays unless he actually use a torch to get them red hot. And if not, he should replace those trays and put himself different trays, new trays, and that would be sufficient for that. While you're cleaning the oven, take the grates from the stove together with the burner and put it inside. That also takes care of that. Either with the self-cleaning oven, he would be considered for that libun chamur, or if you don't do that with a self-cleaning, rather regular oven, as we said, to the highest, that's also sufficient, libun kal, for such things, because there are many poskim that say it doesn't need libun altogether. You don't need anything but cleaning it. This is what Moshe said throughout the year. It just says for Pesach we machmir, and this is how Chacham Ovadia said, this is how the Or L'Tzion ruled. So you say there's a lot of poskim that allow it, and therefore putting it in the oven by either self-clean or even on the highest would be sufficient for that.